Hey everyone, welcome back. You guys have asked me a lot to do another complete Blu-ray collection, and because I love you guys, I'm going to do it, even though I have so many, and I really don't want to go through all of them, but I'm going to do it anyway as a little end-of-the-year gift for all of you, because I love you guys so much. So let's get started. Starting off, 310 to Yuma, 8 Mile, 10 Cloverfield Lane, one of my favorite movies from last year. 12 Angry Men, probably my favorite black and white film of all time. I absolutely adore this movie, and it is on Criterion Collection. 28 Days Later, the Danny Boyle zombie film. This is a great movie. 42 50-50, a pretty awesome comedy about cancer, believe it or not. 300, a movie that I'm not really crazy about, but a lot of people do enjoy. 500 Days of Summer, one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time. Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey. I still have yet to watch this film, and I really, really want to. I'm just trying to find the perfect moment to. A Serious Man. The Accountant, one of my favorite films from last year. I think it's pretty underrated. Air Force One, get off my plane. And Akira, a really brilliant anime film. Mr. Aladdin, sir. Aladdin, one of my favorite Disney animated films. Robin Williams is so remarkable in this movie. Alice in Wonderland, the cartoon, not the garbage remake. We have most of the Alien films comprised of Alien, Aliens, Alien Covenant, Alien vs. Predator, and Alien vs. Predator Requiem. I do not own Alien 3 or Alien 4, but I would like to own Alien 3. All Is Lost, The Amazing Spider-Man, a film that is pretty much the pinnacle of fine. American Beauty, a movie I feel like I could probably never ever watch again. American Gangster, American History X, American Hustle, American Graffiti, directed by George Lucas, American Ultra, American Psycho, don't just stare at it, eat it. You're not terribly important to me. Oh god, it even has a watermark. Do you like Huey Lewis in the News? One of my favorite movies of all time. American Sniper. The Amityville Horror. Annabelle, a movie that's not quite as bad as everybody says, but it's still not very good either. Anchorman 1 and 2. The second one is not nearly as funny as the first. The first is one of my favorite comedies of all time. Ant-Man. Anomalisa. Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. Aristocats. Argo. The Artist. Probably shouldn't have won Best Picture, but it's really good anyway. Arrival, directed by Denis Villeneuve, one of my favorite science fiction films in the past 15 to 20 years or so. Avatar. The Avengers and Avengers Part 2. The first one is one of my favorite superhero films, and the second one is pretty good. Back to the Future trilogy on Steelbook. Hey, you get your damn hands off of her. Are you sure I really have to swear? The Babadook, the Australian horror film. This is an incredible movie. It has great performances, and it deals with grief in a such unique way. I love this movie. Inarritu's Babel. Baby Driver, one of my favorite movies of the year. And Bad Boys 1 and 2, probably my favorite Michael Bay films. Jason Bateman and Bad Words, a pretty underrated comedy. Get ready for a lot of Batman, because we have 1966, the Batman movie with Adam West, rest in peace. We have Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. We have Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. I think Batman Begins is a masterpiece. The Dark Knight is an incredible crime film, and The Dark Knight Rises is fine. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Batman Mask of the Phantasm, one of the best superhero films of all time, not just animated. The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and 2. Batman The Killing Joke, I was very let down by this film. Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders, the best Batman film that came out last year. And Batman Under the Red Hood, one of my favorite DC animated films. Beauty and the Beast, A Tale as Old as Time. Beasts of the Southern Wild. Beetlejuice. I've seen The Exorcist 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now what do you think? Do you think I'm qualified? The Beguiled, the Clint Eastwood film. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, the Criterion Collection edition. Big, The Big Lebowski. Smokey, this isn't Nom. There are rules. The Big Short. The Big Sick, one of my favorite films from this year. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Birdman. Black Mass, one of Johnny Depp's best performances in years. Black Sheep. Black Swan, an incredible movie by Darren Aronofsky, Natalie Portman's best performance by far. Blade, a really underrated superhero film. Blade Runner. Blazing Saddles, Mel Brooks, incredible comedy. Ridley Scott's Body of Lies, I really didn't care for this movie, but it's all right. The James Bond films, consisting of Casino Royale, the collector's edition. We also have Never Say Never Again, of course, the James Bond collection, and Spectre. The Bourne trilogy, one of my favorite trilogies. This is an excellent group of films. The Bourne Legacy, not a bad action movie, but a bad Bourne movie. And then we have Jason Bourne, which was a huge letdown. The Book of Eli. The Boondock Saints, a guilty pleasure right here. Audrey Hepburn's Breakfast at Tiffany's, a movie that I really love, but it has some very uncomfortably racist moments in it. The Breakfast Club, a great John Hughes film, one of the best movies of the 80s. Bridesmaids, Brokeback Mountain, Brooklyn, Bruce Almighty, Bridge of Spies, a movie that I enjoy, but I think Spielberg can do better. Bull Durham, Buried, Burn After Reading, The Butler, Richard Linklater's Boyhood, an impressive movie, but not a great film. The Cabin in the Woods, one of my favorite horror comedies. This is an excellent movie. The Campaign. Captain Fantastic, one of the best movies of last year, really underappreciated. We have Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. I do not own the first film yet. It's the only Marvel movie that I do not own. I really need to get it. We have Carrie with some really brilliant and beautiful Day of the Dead art. Casablanca, here's looking at you, kid. Castaway, Wilson! I'm sorry, Wilson! One of my favorite Tom Hanks films. Catch Me If You Can, I think this is Steven Spielberg's most underrated film. I love this movie. Cellular, a really underrated thriller. Central Intelligence, a really fun buddy cop movie with The Rock and Kevin Hart. Changeling. We have the Charlie Brown Holiday Special, and I also have another copy of A Charlie Brown Christmas. Children of Men, one of the best films in the past 20 years. This is a really incredible science fiction movie. Children of the Corn. Chronicle, probably my favorite found footage film. And we have, of course, Citizen Kane. Clash of the Titans, the original and the remake. Literally the only reasons that I bought this is because the Clash of the Titans original film is one of my favorite childhood movies. I do not like the remake at all. Christmas classics consisting of Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. A Christmas Story, a Christmas movie that gets overplayed so much and it turned an all-right film into a pretty much unbearable movie, but it is a classic. Christmas Vacation, one of my favorite Christmas movies. I watch this every single year without fail. A Clockwork Orange, an excellent movie. I have the poster right over there. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, a really funny animated movie. Cloverfield, another great found footage film. Clown, directed by Eli Roth. And Close Encounters, the 30th anniversary. Cobra, You're a Disease, and I'm the Cure. Collateral, my favorite Tom Cruise film. Coming to America, a movie that I had never seen recently and I just watched, and I really enjoyed it. This is a really funny movie. Con Air, Put the bunny back in the box. The Conjuring 1 and 2, these are both really solid horror films. I love these movies. Steven Soderbergh's Contagion. Coraline, a really unnerving animated kids movie, I think. Commando, a brilliantly over-the-top action movie. Cool Hand Luke, one of my favorite Paul Newman performances. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Please see this film if you haven't. Courage Under Fire. The Cornetto trilogy, consisting of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. I love all of these movies. They're so funny. Crank, a really awesome, super over-the-top action movie. This is a lot of fun. Creed, a film that I was not expecting to be as good as it was. I love this film. Guillermo del Toro's Crimson Peak, a movie that I enjoyed but wasn't in love with. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'd never seen this movie. I bought it and I really didn't care for it. I think it's a really over-the-top film, but not in the good way. The Crow, a movie a lot of people love, but I just don't really care for. I think it's fine. It's probably the most 90s movie I can think of. Cujo, A Cure for Wellness, probably one of the more underrated movies of this past year. The Da Vinci Code. Daredevil Season 1. Darkman. You can see Liam Neeson yell about an elephant in this movie. It's a hilariously over-the-top performance. This movie had me laughing consistently. The Day After Tomorrow, the Roland Emmerich film. Dawn of the Dead, probably one of the better remakes and a good turn of directing from Zack Snyder. Deadpool. Dead Poet Society, one of my favorite Robin Williams films. Days of Thunder. Death Proof, Deepwater Horizon, Deliverance, The Departed, one of my favorite Scorsese films. Even if it does steal a lot of ideas from other movies, this is a great film. The Descent, a really creepy, confined horror movie. Despicable Me 1, Devil, Die Hard 1 through 4, Dinner for Schmucks. I've had this movie for so long I don't even remember if it's any good or not. Dirty Harry, Do I Feel Lucky? Well, do ya? Punk. District 9, Django Unchained, directed by Quentin Tarantino. Doctor Strange, Dodgeball, Don John, Donnie Darko, a really unnerving thriller. This is a really amazingly weird movie and one of my favorite performances by Jake Gyllenhaal. Dragon, a Donnie Yen film that is a little slow in parts but does have some pretty solid action. Dread, a comic book movie that doesn't get talked about enough. This is a really excellent film. Drive, one of my favorite Ryan Gosling films. Don't Breathe, a really amazing horror film from last year. Dumb and Dumber, one of the most quotable movies of all time. Eastern Promises, you can see Aragorn fight a bunch of guys naked in a sauna. Easy Rider, the 40th anniversary. Edge of Darkness. Edge of 17, one of my favorite films from last year. Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, or All You Need Is Kill. Pick a name, I guess. Edward Scissorhands. Elf. End of Watch, a great David Ayer movie. Enemy of the State. The Equalizer. Everything Must Go, a great, really dry comedic turn from Will Ferrell. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the Steelbook. And we have the Evil Dead films consisting of Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and the Evil Dead remake. I really enjoy all of these films and for different reasons. Ex Machina, The Exorcist, one of the scariest films of all time. The Expendables Part 1 and Part 2. Eye in the Sky. Eyes Wide Shut. Face Off, one of the dumbest, most exciting, and most awesome action movies of all time. I could eat a peach for hours. Fargo. And we have the Fast and Furious collection, complete with Fate of the Furious. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Hey bud, let's party. Faster. The Family Guy Star Wars parodies. I really enjoy these. Fanboys. That's kind of interesting how they're like right next to each other because they are both kind of like Star Wars parodies. Fantastic Four. Fantastic Mr. Fox, directed by Wes Anderson. I love this movie. The Fifth Element. Fight Club, one of my favorite movies of all time. First Blood. And The Firm. Flight. Flatliners. Flash Gordon. The Fly, the Vincent Price one, and the David Cronenberg movie. I love the Cronenberg film. Frankenstein with Boris Karloff. Freddy vs. Jason. The French Connection. And we have Friday the 13th Part 1 through 3. I would like to own more of these movies, but these are the only ones that I've found by themselves so far that were pretty cheap. Frost Nixon. Frozen. Full Metal Jacket. The Fugitive. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. Fury. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Foxcatcher. Gamer. I don't know why I own this movie. Garden State. Gentleman's Agreement. Get Out, one of my favorite movies from this year. Ghostbusters. Ghost in the Shell. G.I. Joe 2 for some reason. The Gift. David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Gladiator. Godzilla. The Godfather Part 1 and Part 2. Gone Girl. Gone with the Wind. Good Will Hunting. Goodfellas. Goosebumps. The Grand Budapest Hotel, my favorite Wes Anderson film. Gravity. The Great Gatsby, the Baz Luhrmann version. Green Lantern. Green Zone. Green Room, one of my favorite films from last year. Gremlins, Groundhog Day, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2. The Guest. Hacksaw Ridge, Hang 'em High. The Hangover. The Happening. What? No. The Hateful Eight. Heathers, Hell or High Water, one of my favorites from last year. Hellboy Part 1 and Part 2. Her. Hidden Figures and Highlander. The Alfred Hitchcock collection consisting of Rear Window, Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho, and The Birds. Hocus Pocus. Home Alone. Look what you did, you little jerk. House of 1,000 Corpses. Horrible Bosses. Hostel Part 1 and 2. And How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the cartoon classic, and the Jim Carrey version. Hunger Games Part 1 and 2. The Hurt Locker. Hustle and Flow. The Hustler. I Am Legend. You see that catch? Did you see that catch? That's pretty solid. I, Robot. The Iceman. In Time. In the Heat of the Night. Independence Day. Indiana Jones 1 through 4. Dad, damn it! Inside Out, one of my favorite Pixar films. The Intern. The Imitation Game. Inception. The Incredible Hulk Steelbook. This is a really underrated movie. I thoroughly enjoy this film. The Incredibles, my favorite Pixar movie. Inglourious Bastards. Insidious Part 1 and Part 2. I don't love Part 3, but I would like to have it just because I want to have it. The Interview. Interview with a Vampire. The Iron Giant. Iron Man 1 through 3. The TV miniseries of It. It Comes at Night, one of my favorite horror films of this year. It Follows. Interstellar, a good movie, but it has a really dumb ending. Ip Man, one of my favorite kung fu films. It's a Wonderful Life. Do you want the moon? I'll just throw a lasso around it and bring it down to you. The Italian Job, the Mark Wahlberg version. Jack Reacher. The Jackal. Jackie Brown. Jaws. John Carter. John Wick Part 1 and Part 2. Part 2 is on Steelbook. This is my favorite Steelbook. Look how gorgeous it is. Oh. The Jungle Book, the live-action remake. Juno. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Jurassic World. I don't love this movie, but I own it. Why? I don't know. I have a lot of bad movies. Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. Kick-Ass. Killing Them Softly, a really underrated Brad Pitt film. King Kong, the Peter Jackson version. The Kingdom. Kingsman and the Secret Service. Night and Day. Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2. Knocked Up. Kong Skull Island. Krampus. Kubo and the Two Strings, one of my favorite movies from last year. La Aventura on Criterion Collection. La La Land, one of my favorite movies from last year as well. Labyrinth, baby. The Last of the Mohicans. The Last Samurai. The Last Starfighter. This movie is really bad, and people seem to like it a lot, but it is terrible. Lawless. Leaving Las Vegas. Lion, To Live and Die in L.A. The Lego Batman Movie, one of my favorite animated films from this year. The Lego Movie. Life Itself, the Roger Ebert documentary. Life of Pi. Lights Out. Logan, one of my favorite films of this year. Love Actually. This is a really long, really all-right Christmas movie, and people seem to really like it a lot. I think it's kind of fine, but in a 2.5-hour long movie, I would like the movie to be a little bit better than fine. Lone Survivor. Looper, the Rian Johnson film. And the Lord of the Rings collection 1 through 3. As you can see, I haven't opened it because I don't really love the Lord of the Rings movies, and I'm never like, hey, let's watch a 3-hour film that I'm all right with. MacGruber, Mad Max the Road Warrior, and Mad Max Fury Road. I don't own Beyond Thunderdome. It's not that I don't want it, it's just I don't really care to go seek it out. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I really enjoyed this movie. I don't understand why it got so much hate. The Man on Fire. Man of Steel. The Martian. Master and Commander and the Far Side of the World. The Matrix. Mean Streets. The Mechanic. Meet the Parents. I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me? Memento, one of my favorite Christopher Nolan films. Men in Black Part 1 and Part 3. Why do I not own Part 2? Well, because Part 3 was a gift. I really didn't ask for it, but I got it anyway, so that's fine. Midnight Special, a really underappreciated film from last year. Milk. Misery. The Mission Impossible series, consisting of Mission Impossible 1, 2, 3, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Moana. Moneyball. And Moonlight, last year's Best Picture winner and an incredibly well done movie. Moulin Rouge. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Miss Doubtfire. Mud. The Mummy Trilogy. Napoleon Dynamite. Near Dark has one of my favorite Bill Paxton performances. Rest in peace. Neighbors. The Nice Guys, one of my favorite films from last year. The miniseries The Night Manager. I haven't seen this, and I don't really know what it is or why I own it. Nightcrawler, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this film. Steady hands, steady hands. The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is a Christmas movie, not a Halloween movie. I guess you could watch it on both, but it's a Christmas movie. The Nightmare on Elm Street collection, consisting of Nightmare on Elm Street 1 through New Nightmare. It doesn't have the new one, and I'm glad it doesn't. No Country for Old Men. What's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? I sound like Sean Connery. Nocturnal Animals, one of my favorite films from last year. Non-Stop. Oblivion. Ocean's 11. Oculus. Office Space. Old School. You're my boy Blue. Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen. The Other Guys. Ouija, Origin of Evil. Outbreak. Pacific Rim. Paddington. Pan's Labyrinth, one of my favorite foreign films. The Patriot. Patriots Day. The Peanuts Movie. Pineapple Express. Pitch Perfect. Planet of the Apes, consisting of the original film, the Mark Wahlberg film, and the new trilogy. Piranha, a guilty pleasure. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. As you can see, it's unopened, and it was $8. Predator, one of my favorite action films. Predators. Premium Rush. The Prestige. Pretty Woman. Princess Bride. Pirates of the Caribbean Part 1 and 2. Really the only movies worth owning in that series. Princess Mononoke. Prom Night. Prometheus. I really should put this with the Alien films. Project X, a guilty pleasure. Public Enemies. Pulp Fiction, one of my favorite films of all time. The Punisher. Purple Rain. Point Break. Give me 2, Utah. 2. Raging Bull. The Raid Part 1 and 2. Some great kung fu movies. Ray. One of my favorite biopics. Reanimator, the original and the special edition. This is one of my favorite Blu-rays that I own. There's like a little comic book in here. It's so incredible. It's a limited edition Arrow video collection. Red. Red Dawn, the original. Reservoir Dogs. The Revenant. Rick and Morty Season 1. The Ring. Risky Business. Run All Night. Roadhouse. RoboCop. I'd buy that for $1. RoboCop the remake. Rock'n'Rolla. The Rocky series. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Ronin. Rosemary's Baby, Criterion Collection. Room. Not The Room, very big difference. Run, Lola, Run. The Rundown. Runner, Runner. Safe House. Salem's Lot. Saving Mr. Banks. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Scrooged. Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Secret Window. Selma. Seven. Seven Psychopaths. Seven Samurai, Criterion Collection. The 7-Year Itch. Shawshank Redemption, my favorite film of all time. Sherlock Holmes 1 and 2. Shoot 'Em Up, a huge guilty pleasure. If you have not seen this movie, please do yourself a treat. This is a ridiculously awesome film. The Shining. Shutter Island. Sicario. Silence of the Lambs. That was pretty good. Sleepwalkers. Cop Kebab. Silver Linings Playbook. Sin City. Sing Street, my favorite movie from last year. Sinister. The Sixth Sense. Slumdog Millionaire. Snitch. Snowpiercer, The Social Network, Source Code, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, Southpaw, Space Jam, Steelbook, Spartacus, Spawn, Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, and Spider-Man Homecoming, Split, Spotlight, Spring Breakers, Spy, Saint Vincent, Stand By Me, Star Trek 1, Star Trek 2, and Star Trek 3, the new trilogy, Star Wars 1 through 7, as well as Rogue One, Stargate, Step Brothers, Steve Jobs, The Sting, Straight Outta Compton, Straw Dogs, Storks, Suicide Squad, This is Katana, Super 8, Superbad, Superman 1, 2, and Superman Returns, Swiss Army Man, that was Superman, The Switch, Swordfish, Swingers, Taken, The Taking of Fallon 1, 2, 3, the original and the remake, Talladega Nights, About of Ricky Bobby, Tangled, Ted, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 through 3 and the Michael Bay version, The Terminator 1 and 2, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original and the remake, There Will Be Blood, They Live Steelbook, The Thing, This Is It, This Is the End, Thor Part 1 and 2, Titanic, Tommy Boy, Total Recall, the original, The Towering Inferno, The Town, The Toxic Avenger, Toy Story, Training Day, Trainwreck, Transformers, The Transporter, Trick or Treat, 999, Tron Legacy, Tropic Thunder, True Grit, The Truman Show, Unforgiven, Unknown, Underworld, The Usual Suspects, V for Vendetta, Vacation, Videodrome Criterion Collection, The Visit, a Mark Wahlberg collection consisting of The Fighter, The Shooter, and Four Brothers, A Walk Among the Tombstones, Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story, a really forgotten comedy. This is one of the best parodies. Walking Tall, Wall Street, Wanted, War Dogs, War Horse, Warm Bodies, Warrior, Watchmen, Wedding Crashers, Weird Science, We Are the Millers, When Harry Met Sally, White Christmas, White Men Can't Jump, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Wind River, one of my favorite movies from this year, The Witch, Whiplash, The Wizard of Oz, The Wolf of Wall Street, Wonder Woman, one of my favorite movies from this year as well, World War Z, The Wrestler, X-Men Part 1, 2, 3, First Class, X-Men Days of Futures Past, X-Men Apocalypse, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and The Wolverine. Final few. Yes Man, I apologize. You're Next, Young Frankenstein, Zack and Miri Make a Porno, Zero Dark 30, Zombieland, and Zootopia. Thank you guys for watching this, and thank you for sticking through all of these movies if you have made it this far. I love you guys. Happy New Year. This is my gift to you because you guys asked for it. I hope you guys liked today's video, and if you did, click on the link down below and subscribe to my channel for more movie reviews and related things. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.